Welcome to Recently on Reddit, a tiny Black Panther production. Here we explore some eye-catching posts from a number of popular subreddits. This is sort of an intro to Reddit because, trust me, there's a lot more waiting out there to be discovered. Did you know that banana plants walk? And they're not trees. That's today's totally useless and unrelated fact. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider subscribing. And with that out of the way, let's get to the stories. From r/TalesFromTheCustomer, posted by tempthethrowaway. Asked for a video, was told to find a new doctor. So, background. I suffer from chronic migraines. I had a lapse in insurance in early 2021. Because of that, I couldn't see my neurologist. 6 months of my calls being ignored, being hung up on, and the patient portal message being ignored. They called me to set up an appointment because we haven't seen you since 2020. I told them I didn't have transportation, so I couldn't do an in-person appointment. They insisted on threatening not to prescribe for me anymore. Thing is, they'd already stopped prescribing for me at the end of 2020. I've been unmedicated for severe migraines since then, just muddling along as best as I can with an ice pack. I checked to see if my insurance would provide transportation. They do not. So the nurse told me that it's in person or nothing. So I canceled the appointment, went to my PCP, and asked for a referral to another office. These people just called me to tell me that if I couldn't get transportation, then I needed to find a new doctor. They were very surprised and quite upset when I informed them that I was already on it. Good for you. If you can't advocate for your own health, then there's no chance of survival in this world, because doctors' offices seem to believe that they are not there to help people, that they're just trying to make a buck. From r/EntitledKarens, posted by What-am-I-evendoing? Karen threatens to sue us over ID policy. Alright, so this just happened a few hours ago and I had to tell someone, so here it is. I work at a gas station in my town. It's a smaller regional company. Our corporate policy is that no matter how old you are or look, we cannot sell you any age-restricted items, i.e. beer, tobacco, etc., without valid ID. This is because cops in the area have been sending in people who are clearly old enough with expired IDs. If we sell to them, it's huge personal fine, a fine for the company, and instant termination for the employee. That's the necessary context for this story. So this woman came in a few hours ago and tried to buy vodka. I was behind the counter with my two co-workers. I wasn't on the clock at that time, so I was more of a passive observer. The co-worker that rang her up, we'll call her Jaden, is on the smaller side and is the youngest person that works here, 18. So she asked the star of today's story, our Karen, to see her ID. She just said her birthday, and Jaden explains that it's our corporate policy that we must see valid ID. The following is her word-for-word response. BS. Can't you see I'm clearly old enough? At this point, my other coworker, we'll call him John, steps in. John is our store's assistant manager and the manager on duty at the time. He proceeds to calmly explain to her that with our corporate policy, as stupid as we all think it is, we can't serve her without valid ID. At this point, Karen gets extremely belligerent with my manager, and he responds that since she's being rude to his employees, we're not serving her at all. Karen did not like hearing this, and that's when she dropped this bomb. I have a lawyer. I've already been through this with sister company to ours, and I won. You are being extremely rude to me, and I have 2 witnesses, referring to Jaden and me. We were not going to vouch for this dummy. She was definitely in the wrong. To make an already long story shorter, after arguing with my manager for around 10 minutes, she left in a huff, saying she was going to call corporate on us. That's right, she threatened to call corporate because we followed corporate policy. Aren't Karens smart? Yeah, Karens totally are. I honestly feel this story to my bones. I spent years managing a gas station, and I can't tell you how many times I had this exact conversation, except usually I got called things that weren't my name and threatened physically. From r/TalesFromTechsupport, posted by jbanelaw. I plugged it in 2 times so it would be twice as fast. It has been a while since I had a chance to post. The labor market is tight on supply, which means as a consultant, my inbox is pretty constantly full of work requests. And even though I've increased my rate for new customers by 50%, businesses seem more than happy to still pay my hourly rate. There is no way the market can sustain hourly rates like this, but I'm going to make all the cash I can while it lasts, even if it means 80-hour weeks. Anyway, just had a job ghost on me tonight. I'll keep the deposit. Thank you very much. Winker guy who let me drive the whole way to a job site to find the place locked up tight. So here is a funny short one I ran into recently. And as always, no matter how you market yourself, no matter how much branding you splash over everything, no matter if your name is actually James Bond, if you are an IT consultant, you will also be known as the IT guy. Introduction. I'm doing some on-site project management for one client. Standard equipment and network refresh stuff being handled by another contractor. My job is to keep them on time and on task. I don't get the ins and outs of why two contractors to do the job, but they are paying me an inflated hourly rate, so none of my business. The contract specs are crystal clear. The other company handles all the technical stuff, and I manage the timeline. In fact, there is a clause that I'm not even supposed to touch the equipment. Maybe it is security, maybe it is some government funding BS, but maybe someone's brother is making a ton of cash on a weird deal. Doesn't really matter to me. But those are the terms. Don't touch the stuff. The network is down. I'm sitting at my desk looking at the timeline, checking on some deliveries, and about ready to hop on a status update meeting. The job is going well. Despite the supply chain, we are still getting deliveries more or less on time. I've got to move around a few things, but it looks like we are going to finish on time and under budget. That is as long as the clowns the other contractor have don't F it up. The first set of guys were fine. They were seasoned system admins who came in and did all the backroom stuff over a long weekend. Looked good, and their supervisor gave me a full briefing. But for some reason, maybe the market or just saving a few bucks, they fielded the bomb squad of techs to deploy workstations. I mean, these guys were so dumb, there was no way they could ever figure out they were the dumb kind of stupid. They literally had flip books of everything to follow, including how to take the machine out of the box and where to stage the mouse and keyboard. I've never seen anything like this, although, but whatever, it isn't rocket science getting these things up and running. They seem to be doing an adequate job meeting the goal and the end of the day. That is until one guy screams, "The internet is broken!" Outage outrage. It is the middle of the workday and this company is going full tilt with sales. The location is almost fully staffed, and of course one of the big sales guys has a 5 p.m. deadline to get something to a client. After a few minutes of confusion, one of the company leads comes into the conference room where I have set up shop and asks me if I can take a look. They can't find their internal guy anywhere. Now, I am generally pretty helpful even if it isn't my scope of work, but here I'm a bit hesitant. The contract said I'm not to touch the equipment. I'm there for the project management only. So I tell the lead that I'm not comfortable unless he can give me something in writing. IT guy. Look, the contract is pretty specific here. Lead. Is there something you can do? We have a call in for our guy, but no one knows where he is, and these other contractors have no idea what's going on. IT guy. If you can give me something in writing. Lead. Frustrated. All the brass are off site today and I'm in charge, but I don't have much authority. There is going to be a revolt in about 15 minutes unless we can do something now. I'll write you an email or something as long as you can just maybe take a look. Don't do anything, but just see if you can get a handle on what we need to do. Okay, good enough for me. Send me that email. Well, that was easy. I start by taking a look in the back room. Switches and firewall all look stable. Servers are all running. But then I notice a few of the switches have a ton of activity, like flashing more than the Christmas tree in town square kind of action going on. That is weird. I asked the lead to take me to where drop 47 is because that switch is acting particularly strange from just the optics of it. He starts looking around at the plates and gets some lady to help him. But whoever did the wiring job actually kept all the drops sequential order. Nice job, guy, whoever you are, which made it easier to track down. This takes us to an area where the contractors are staging the new equipment. Gomer and his pals are just sitting around playing on their phones, presumably because they can't complete their current staging job until the network is back up. I asked one guy to show me how they have the staging area wired, and he points over to a mess of cables, routers, hubs, and other network equipment. I start tracing back all of the various cables, and find one router jacked into 2 sequential drops. Well, that is the issue right there. Simple broadcast storm. IT guy, hey, why'd you do that? Gomer, the internet was slow, so we plugged it in again to make it go faster. Ugh, these idiots brought down an entire network for almost an hour because they lack basic tech skills. I tell the lead what needs to be done, and once we clear the loop and power cycle the affected switches, everything is back up and running, just in time for their in-house IT team to come busting through the main door. Back to work. I go back to the conference room where I have my ad hoc office and complete whatever I was doing for that day. At 5, the lead comes in and thanks me profusely. Apparently, whatever the deal was with the deadline was a huge deal, and they were just able to transmit all the files right before a contractual deadline that, if missed, would have cost them a huge chunk of revenue. Of course, no good deed goes unpunished. Apparently, one of the in-house guys caught wind that I had helped to troubleshoot the problem and made a fuss. Don't know why or his motivation. Glad I had the email, and the lead, to his credit, had my back when legal came to investigate. It was mild pain, but the lead has given me multiple good references since, so maybe it was worth it. About a week after the job concluded, I got an unexpected knock at my door. It was a delivery driver with a nice gift basket. Surprised, I looked for a note. Turns out it was from the lead, and the note had a simple inscription. Thanks, IT guy. Yeah, IT guy, thank you for saving those idiots from themselves. So you may be wondering about that random fact in the beginning. It occurs to us here at Tiny Black Panther Productions that everyone can use a little random knowledge, and we like to share ours. So if you have any random tidbits you'd like to share with the world, please drop them in the comments below. I'll read out some of those facts in future episodes at random. Please just be sure they're accurate. Thank you for joining us on Recently on Reddit. Please comment, like, and subscribe. All comments will be read and considered, as it's my goal to get better at entertaining you. Again, thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now.